And yes, that relentless rain has been widespread through large parts of England and Wales. The good news is the outlook turns drier, it also turns colder.
And that's what I had in my mind yesterday.
Exactly, and there are still so many people driving through floodwaters. First of all, just the water gets into the car and it can ruin it, but you will just need to take that extra long journey and just don't do it because it just isn't worth it. And the problem is, I've spoken to Richard Gaisford this morning where he is. Now, Derbyshire has had the most amount of rainfall so far this month, 2/3 of January's rainfall in just 4 days.
Wow.
But the issue is actually that their river levels haven't peaked yet because the water comes from Derbyshire. So the water has to go from the hills into the higher rivers, they go from the tributaries into the main rivers, and then it comes down. So the rain has now stopped, but it still means that river levels will continue to rise. So there's just still...
That's why they're so concerned about the Trent.
Exactly. And it's not just there. Right across large parts of England and Wales, we have hundreds of warnings in force. But it's the amount of rain and how relentless the rain has been that has been the issue. So far this winter, we've had a lot of rain. In fact, it has rained every day for the last 40 days. But for January so far, England and Wales have seen 1/3 of their rainfall in just 4 days. And the wettest county is Nottinghamshire. And as Richard said earlier, that's where he is. 64% of January's rainfall in just 4 days. So that is the issue. But the good news is it is turning drier. So this is our latest pressure chart. This is the low pressure that brought the rain yesterday. This isn't Storm Henk. That was days ago. It's this extra rain that we had yesterday on top of Henk from earlier this week. But the low pulls away. High pressure moves in. And it's high pressure that keeps weather fronts at bay. It settles things down. So the outlook is dry. Good morning to you. Rain. We have had a lot of it through England and Wales. So far this month, England and Wales have actually had 1/3 of the rainfall we should have. That is in just 4 days. But the wettest counties through England, Nottinghamshire, we have Richard Gaisford this morning, where river levels are peaking close to record, 2/3 of the month's worth of rainfall. We have had a lot of rain for a long time. In fact, the last 40 days, we have seen significant rainfall across the UK. But it's the last week in particular. Now, in just the first 4 days of this month, England and Wales have seen 1/3 of our January rainfall, but the wettest county by far, Nottinghamshire, 64% of their January
Warnings in place for us shortly. But first, we can go live to our chief correspondent, Richard, can't we? The impact it's having, the danger to people as well when we're talking about sewage water coming up. But there are other areas across the UK.
And actually, there are many things you can do to help to prevent your property from flooding that will lower the cost of it by about 75%. The cost of flooding to a property is about £30,000, and about 15% of properties don't actually have home insurance because of the cost of living.
When we look at the number of flood warnings and alerts, so as of 2 o'clock, it all points to the sheer amount of rainfall we've had. Just how bad has it been?
Oh, and they're all rising, by the way, still, Charlotte, because the rainfalls of rivers are happening right across southern England.
Oh, so it's only going to get worse. All right, then. Well, Laura, thanks very much for taking us through all of that. Really useful.
Take some positives, though, that those flood defences they put in Upton so far have worked really, really well. So when they're being employed and used and they're done properly, they can make...
...lies with the Environment Agency, and they're now building higher and higher barriers to protect for the long-term projections for the worst-case scenario of climate change.
OK. Laura, thank you very much.
Well, I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. Some dry weather. And actually, I can deliver some as we head through the next few days. Today, though, it is mixed. We had rain yesterday through southern areas of England, parts of Wales. And as a result, we have seen those river levels rising yet again. The worst flooding through parts of the Midlands. We saw Richard Gaisford. Good morning to you. Flooding is the big thing lots of people are talking about through England at the moment because we have just seen so much rain. England and Wales, so far in January, just 4 days in, have seen 1/3 of the average rainfall. The wettest county, Nottinghamshire, where they've seen 2/3 of their annual average January rainfall, which is where Richard Gaisford has been this morning, where along the River Trent they have seen near record levels of water peaking. The rain is easing. It will stop as we head through the weekend. High pressure builds, but despite that, river levels are likely to still rise because it takes a while for the catchments to catch up, coming down the hills into the tributaries and into the main rivers. So for today, we have showers around initially. The rain clears away from the east. So showers for eastern England, northern England, Wales and the southwest. Elsewhere, some sunny spells and a cooler 8 or 9 degrees. But the outlook this weekend is colder and drier.